Namaste. Welcome to Buddha's teachings. Today's topic: living under the guidance of the Dhamma or Buddha's teachings. Right? So, why do we want to live under the guidance of the Buddha, right? Or the Dhamma, as we call it. Unless we see that the teaching can provide us benefits, then of course, why waste our time following the guidance of the teaching, right? Hopefully, until this time, you can see there are benefits, and as you progress along the path that the Buddha have suggested, you can somehow see that yes, it's a good path to follow, right? For many people, it is very difficult to see this or to even consider looking at what the Buddha has to say, because everyone's life is busy. They are too busy going after their world pleasure. Okay, they're busy working, okay, to support life, and after they have enough, they are busy going after different kinds of pleasure in life. Okay, so and that's all there is to it, for most people. And as we all know, life has its obstacle. Okay, if we just go about our daily life and we have no issue, no problem, then there is no need the for the teaching. Okay, so the reason that the Buddha had left us the teaching or the lesson or the guidance, okay, is because the Buddha see that every single one of us will inevitably run into problem, run into issue, and we have no clue what it's all about, and we have no understanding of how to handle those problems. That's why the Buddha left us a whole bunch of lessons to follow as the guidance. But it is up to individuals to look into it, to do research for themselves, whether the teaching can be beneficial to them or not. So, living under the guidance of the Dhamma, right? Dhamma guidance is that, of course, we have to understand what the Dhamma is, okay? We have to have at least a good understanding of the foundation, what the teaching is all about. So, in summary, in a way, the three pillars in Buddhism or in Buddha's teaching is that the Buddha taught about impermanence, okay, anicca, okay, and then suffering, dukkha, and then non-self, anatta, okay. These are the three pillars, very important pillars in Buddha's teaching, okay. Once we understand this, then we can branch into different kinds of topics after that. But those are the three main topics in Buddha's teachings. And for example, impermanence, okay, as we all have come across the lesson, the Buddha said nothing is permanent, right? Everything is always changing. Our physical body is always changing, and our mind is always changing, right? But it sounds very simple, but it's very hard to understand. Okay, for example, our physical body, okay, is always changing. What does that mean? it means that it's always aging. Okay, as as soon as we are born, we are in the aging process. Even though we say the baby is growing, okay, but that is called aging process. All right, the baby is getting older, and as we are also, we are getting older, and also in the process of aging, and as we age more and more, um, sickness arise, right? And do we produce those sickness? No, it arises, okay, naturally or not naturally, depending the environment, depending on the nutrient, depending on food that we consume and all that. So sickness arise within us, and nobody can escape sickness. Okay, so a lot of people do not understand this one. When people get sick, they say, "Oh, why me?" And they have this resistance that I should not be sick, or I shouldn't have this disease, or whatnot. As we all know, there are all kinds of sickness in the world. Okay, but what we don't understand is that we are part of this world, so sickness will happen. All right, just look around yourself, look around, and look even at the vegetation around. Look at the trees, look at the vegetable, all right, look at the plant, the grass. They all have diseases, all right? That is natural. So for us to get sick, if we don't think that it's natural, then we do not see it the correct way, okay? Being sick is natural, all right? We have to understand this. Now, of course, it doesn't mean that we're not gonna do anything about it. Okay, when we are sick, the body has something going on, then we'll have to take care of it. I mean, to the best of our ability. But for a lot of people, when they're sick, they just become upset, and they become stressed, and all that, right? And so by fighting the sickness, by not agreeing in a way, right, not agreeing that the body is sick, which means, in another word, when the body is sick, it is signaling to us that it needs help. Okay, that's what the sickness means. The body say there is something going on that is not working properly, that is damaging the body, that is doing some kind of harm to the body. So the body sickness is a signal that the body sent to the mind. So the mind can figure out what needs to, what needs to be done, what can be done. Okay, so yes, sickness is a natural phenomenon. Okay, it's not something that is strange, something that we don't want to accept. Of course, nobody likes to be sick. All right, but when we are sick, according to the teaching, this is part of the impermanence. Okay, when the body is sick, yes, see, the body was not sick yesterday or an hour ago, but now it is sick. Okay, so it sends a signal. So when the body is sick, um, the teaching says, just okay, look at it as it is, and just take care of it. And that is the proper way to do, instead of fighting it, ignoring it, arguing with it. Okay, which is that is what we call the ignorant mind, the mind that does not understand the true natural reality of the body. Okay, the mind who doesn't want the body to get sick, right? Nobody wants to get sick. Okay, but the mind doesn't understand that the body this body here is bound to get sick. So, and after that, when you cure it, when you take care of it, then the body will recover and become healthy again. So it's all changing. So that is one of the pillar that I'm touching on a little bit. Okay, so the guidance is that as you drill down further and further to understand the pillars about the impermanence, is that the impermanence of the body and the impermanence of the mind, right? And again, also the mind is what? The mind is always changing. Yesterday you were happy, today you are not, or vice versa, or from last from this morning until um, tonight, or from nighttime until the next, or whatever. There's always things that as life goes, we encounter, and their mind uh, react most of the time. Okay, and of course, so when now we come to the mind part, the guidance from the teaching say that, okay, look at that mind, right? Become aware of the mind, because the mind, this impermanent mind, is changing according to the different phenomena that we encounter, in all of in our environment. All right. So the experience that we run into, the encounter that we see, that we hear, we smell, that we taste through our tongue, or we feel through our physical body. So those are the phenomena that uh, are the source of our mind. And then the sixth sense number six, do the analysis and do the response. Okay, so with that, and we look at the emotion, of course, right? Because you have to understand this, as I believe I mentioned it before. Our mind is divided into two big parts also, right? And that is always changing. So we have intellectual mind, the mind that we use to think, to figure out mathematical formula, to solve issue, right? Uh, to build things, all of that, that is our intellectual mind. Okay, and also at the same time we have emotional mind. Okay, and this emotional mind is the mind that we have to really understand it. Okay, because this is where the all the activity is happening. Okay, this emotional mind is the big boss of the intellectual mind. So if we decide to do some unwholesome things, then the 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 emotional mind will influence the intellectual mind to think, toward uh, to figure out ways in the unwholesome uh, path. All right, and if the emotional mind, or the is good, okay, then the emotional mind influence our intellectual mind to think of good things, right? To figure out good things. So our emotional mind is very important. Okay, so, and again, the emotional mind, or um, and our intellectual mind are all impermanent, right? It changes from 1 minute to the next, from 1 second to the next, or even nanosecond to the next. It changes all the time, right? So there it goes. That's the guidance. The guidance is, you need to understand, okay, the teaching. Okay, so, and what else? Non-self, non-self, or anatta. Okay, because if we understand, if we can truly understand the concept of impermanence, as we have covered, then we know that the body is impermanent and the mind is impermanent. So where is I, right? So those are the three pillars that we can go by in our daily life. Use the three pillars as our guidance, okay? And then as we learn more and more, when we when we get to understand more and more, as we observe ourselves and that we are going through life right now, and we can see for ourselves. Nobody else have to tell us, because this is our life, right? This is our body and our mind, right? This is who we that this is what we are experiencing, okay? And as we experience and we know the body, okay, yeah, I know the body is changed, and the the so-called I that we all refer to, right? Let's say 5 or 10 years ago, is no longer there. Okay, this is a brand new I, even though it has age. Okay, but all the molecule, all the atom, and everything is they're changing all the time. So after a while, it's completely new. The body is a completely new body. All right, and as the mind change, the mind is never the same. Just like a stream of water that is running, the mind is a stream of energy. It keeps going. So there you go, impermanence. So this is the guidance, all right, that of the teaching. So once we understand the foundation, and then as we realize that, okay, so this is what um, life is all about in a way, right? And then we start to feel less clinging, okay? Because without understanding of through these three pillars in the ultimate reality, for most of us, for most of the people, they cling on to and they try to solidify the self I very hard, okay? And as the harder one solidify himself or herself, the more suffering the person will encounter, okay? And the more the person is lost in the world, in the realm of this world here, is because they're trying to hold on to something that is not there, okay? They're trying to solidify something that is not possible. So eventually, when things break down, that is the major suffering, right? So as we understand more and more, a practitioner or the one who spend time into understanding the true reality of who we are, then the person will become less clinging to the material world, okay? Because the person now under the guidance understand, under the teaching understand that nothing is permanent, things change, right? All the time, all this. So now the person tend to have less attachment to things, less attachment to own feelings, because they know the feeling is just gonna change again and again. It just develop, evolve, right? So they tend to have less attachment to the feeling, less attachment, less clinging to the opinions, to the ideas that they have collected in their mind through their experiences in life, right? So as they become less and less attached or clinging to the self I, right? To the solidify of I, then of course you, the person would feel lighter, okay? The spirit seems to be better, right? Before that, when the person is very uh, close minded, okay, about this I, uh, you know, um, I am this, I am that, and with the fame and with the money and all that, the stronger they hold on to that, the more rigid and the more suppressed their spirit is, the difficult, and it's the total the total darkness or loss in the material world they are. Okay, as you can see around, especially if you look around people who are rich people, billionaire or famous people or whatnot, they are so caught up in their own eye, in their own mind, that they are so full of unbelievable chaotic um, mental activity within, because the eye is working so hard, right, to make themselves great or something like that. Okay, but as the Buddha, as the teaching goes, if you truly look into it, then you know that even those people, they try so hard to cling on to the self eye, but the eye that never exists. So the people would keep chasing, keep going after what they think is real. Okay, so as the student, as a practitioner in Buddha's teaching, we always refer to the guidance, and once we understand this, and this understanding has to happen within, right? Has to happen within that. Okay, so this is what it is, the true, the ultimate reality of what is. Okay, so then the person become lighter and less clinging, has a better spirit, and with that there's more compassion, right? Compassion start to grow. Okay, there's kindness start to grow, empathy start to grow, okay, within the person, that is less attaching, to the material world, and which is the exact opposite of most of the world, right? Most of the world is holding down, it's closing, its mind is, and eye and all that. So it's very rigid, right? It's very very rigid and solid and rough. The big ego eyes is hold is grabbing on so hard to the self, to the I. Okay, which eventually they will find out that um, the ultimate reality is not there, right? That the I is not there. So anyway, um, now with the guidance, one becomes lighter and more approachable, right? More joyful, okay? Living life easily, okay, without much of a burden, right? There's no demanding. They're less demanded for whatever, because they say, okay, there is, isn't anything, it's a big deal anymore. Okay, before understanding, everything seems to be like a big deal, you know, but after understanding, nothing is really a big deal. All right, we just have to understand each other, and helping each other out. So with that, we can get to an understanding of, oh, okay, so with the guidance, and as we all know, with the guidance of from the teaching, you can see the mind. Okay, so the mind has option. All right, as we go through life, as we have studied, that we know that a mind that generate the feeling here, there's wholesome, there's unwholesome, and there's neutral. right? And the mind has choice, okay? Has choice to be wholesome and has the choice to be unwholesome, okay? Yeah. So, but for most other people who never come to hear about this, when they are angry, when they are mad or upset, they just angry and mad. They do not know that that is called unwholesome mind. See, um, the, the people do not understand that, okay? And there's nobody's fault because that is the default, right? When you're mad, you're just mad. You just respond negatively. And when you're happy, you just respond positively. And you think that is normal, right? But that is not. It's just the work of the mind. We have to be able to understand this and step back a little bit and say, oh, the mind has this. And the mind is just happening according to the condition, according to the experience, right? So this is the guidance right there. That's the teaching right there. So the mind just respond and react, response, and, react based on whatever we receive, right? So what choice, what are the options? I mean, obviously, for us, for the student, for the practitioner, who get to understand that, oh, the mind has option, this mind here, okay? Which one you choose? Obviously, if you have now that you can have some kind of influence on the mind instead of the mind doing whatever it wants, right? The mind get mad, you just mad, happy or sad, cry. Instead of that, you step back and say, no, wait a minute. I've been living under the, total control, total influence of the mind. The mind do whatever, you just, that's it. But now that you're aware that, no, that's the mind, that's, you can take control, okay? That, okay, so there's, all right, there's wholesome mind, unwholesome mind, that. And it happen, it responds because of greed, because of, our desire not to have, or our desire, our expectation, and all that. So the emotion arise as a response to that. And then you say, maybe I can change that, right? By not responding, by not reacting to the things that, comes to our ear or come to our eyes and things like that. So now we become more and more aware of what goes on in here. See, that is the teaching, right? That is the guidance, to become aware of what goes on in here, not out there. What goes on in here, and as we observe ourselves, when we angry, before we used to be, when we angry, we just, react or respond. But after we understand, oh, this is the mind that is responding to what the mind don't like to hear, right? The mind don't like something, and the mind generate anger. But you step back, oh, that's how the mind works, right? So, but anger is not good. It bogs down the body. It bogs down the entire physical form. So no, that's not what I is. Uh, that's not good. So now we have communication here. Okay, no, that's not it. Okay, that's not the way that I want to go. So see, these are the kind of guidance that teachers, okay, to look within. All right, the teaching that tell us, okay, look in, right, and just keep practicing becoming aware of what goes on in here, right? This is the world in here, right? Everything goes on in here. All the problem that we have, the problem when we're happy, the happy is not out there. It's in here, right? When we are worried, when we are mad, when we're angry, it's all in here. Okay, it's not out there. So everything happen is in here. It's in here, right? So This is where you cultivate the mind, right? You say, okay, right, okay, this unwholesome thing of the mind, it doesn't like something now. It want to manifest something unwholesome. No, pull out that weed, right? Pluck out that unwanted vegetation, the grass or whatever. Pull that out, right? Nope. So as you pull that out, then you become less, rigid, less, and as you become less like this, right? Then you become lighter. You feel better, and of course, the energy that you emanate um, has a reciprocal result. When you emanate positive energy, you will receive positive result back. So again, and then people will see. Okay, that's why there, as you know, there are people that is very easy to approach and easy to talk to, and there are people you just want to stay away from, right? because because of the energy, right? Because of what we call the vibe. I have a negative vibe about the person, things like that, right? So what you emanate, that's what you're gonna see back also. Okay, and as we follow this, then you will see, okay, looks like it's working, right? This is good. Okay. So as we continue the path, then the Buddha say, okay, let's go down. Let's walk the path of being of go toward a uh, a, a a state of mind that we become very open, uh, no more clinging and all that. That's what the Buddha call nirvana, right? Or nibbana. But so the path is, of course, the eightfold path that we all know, right? The eight noble path, and that is divided into the three groups, and of course that has the five precepts in them, right? So you don't do the killing, you don't do the stealing, right? You don't do the lying, you don't do the adultery stuff that can create all kinds of issue. You don't do the addictive stuff, or trade, doing trading drugs or weapons and all that, things like that that could create harm to others and yourself. Throw it away, right? So that's part of morality, right, in the eightfold path. So you let it go. And then, so as you progress in the path, so that path will lift you, right? It will lift your spirit, right? That make you become more open, right? More uh, embrace to everything, right? You have now your heart is open to everyone. uh, Before you understand, your heart is closed. You're really close, and you only allow maybe one or a few person of your personal, of your people who you like. That's it. Other than that, but after you letting go, then your heart becomes open. As compassion grow, as kindness grow, then you start to invite other people. You start to embrace other people. Okay, because you understand that we are a human being. We're going through the same thing all together on this planet, right? Not just me or you or Susie or John. Everybody, we go through the same thing, right? Birth, aging, sickness, and death, right? We are born the same way, naked, nothing with us. We didn't bring anything with us. And when we go back to the soil, we're not going to take anything with us, right? It's empty, right? We come empty handed, and we also go empty handed. So, with that in mind, That's what the guidance is all about, right? And the guidance is, with that guidance, with that understanding, when you become less rigid, right? Less clinging to the self, I am right, he is wrong or she is wrong. As you become more acceptable and understanding, you have more love and compassion. And then you have life, you can enjoy life even more, even better. Okay, I mean, after all, that is what the teaching is all about, to lift us up to understand the ultimate reality of life. Okay, without understanding, then we live in a dark place. Okay, it's very dark, right? So that's the guidance, that's the teaching. That's why it's so beautiful, at least to me anyway. That's how I see it. So that's what I like to share with you all today. I hope it is all beneficial to you. Until next time, I like to pay respect to the triple gems. I like to pay respect to the Buddha. I like to pay respect to the Dhamma. And I like to pay respect to the Sangha. Namaste.